Good evening, everybody. Hope you had a fantastic day today. My name is Sensei Bronson Long. This is my instructor, Master Autry.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Sir, how are you today?
Doing well, hope you are, sir.
Oh, I'm doing great.
What a day, right?
Beautiful weather. You can't beat it. It's stormy and bad, and yet somehow or another, the sun comes out and it's just a beautiful day
Absolutely.
today. Which is really interesting for what we're going to be talking about tonight.
Which is your topic.
Yes.
Your turn.
Exactly right. So, sir, I've been your martial arts student for about 12 years now.
Yes, sir.
I've had the privilege to work with you and see you, change people's lives. You changed my life, and now I have the honor to sit down with you and have these awesome conversations where I get to learn more than just martial arts, but more importantly, how to walk through life. And these things have been very beneficial to me. I've really enjoyed them.
Actually, I've enjoyed them. I really have. This is just a thrill. You've been asking me to do this for a couple of years, but no, it's a thrill to be able to do this. I enjoy it too. It's fun. Yes, sir.
It's a great time. We enjoy having our audience come in here and talk with us and give their opinions and their thoughts on things. And so every week we have a new topic. We go back and forth, and this week is mine to go ahead and get into some things. Now, this is actually fun because this came from a viewer, believe it or not. Yes, this came from my wife.
Oh, okay. A close viewer.
Yeah, a very close viewer. Yes, came from my wife. And the topic today is about bad days. Now, there's certain things in life, Marvin Gaye said there's, a couple things are for certain, taxes, death, and trouble.
Exactly.
Right? And bad days are for certain. You're going to have one every once in a while. And they can really make or break your week. Really, you have a really, really bad day.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can break you for a whole week. Sure. Really get you down. Now, you have told me something that I have held close to my heart for a long time. This is many years ago. You told me this. I've had some issues when I was a younger guy, and you helped me walk through all that stuff. And one thing you have told me a handful of times is when you are going through a rough time, you're having a bad day, one of the best things that you can do is something good for somebody else. And I have been able to practice that a handful of times in my life.
Yeah.
And it is actually like medicine for the soul. It really is. My own dad actually told me something one time when he said that the best gift you can give to somebody is the one that you want to keep. The thing that you want to keep all the time, sometimes it's best to let that go and give that to somebody else. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty good saying from him. And I keep that too. And so those are the things that I like to do when I'm having a hard time or going through a bad time is, people always talk about how karate means empty hand, right? Mm-hmm. And when somebody's down, what you do is you give them an empty hand so they can grab a hold of it and you can lift them back up.
Right.
That stuff really flows through with everything. And I can speak from personal experience. When you're having a bad time, helping somebody else is a sure way to make yourself feel better.
Well, excuse me, that's a topic and a half. I'm going to tell you something a little bit different about this, in my opinion.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever just went and got a hamburger or a cheeseburger or Pepsi Cola, whatever, maybe a candy bar, and you're like, man, that's really what I wanted. That hit the spot. That was just what I wanted. It was so good. Mm-hmm. Your spirit is no different. It's not. Your spirit is no different. Your spirit is exactly the same way. Excuse me. Fellowship, I wrote a note down, so I didn't want to forget to tell you this, but fellowship fills your spirit. Fellowship. Everything that we do goes through your heart.
Wow.
Everything you do, everything I do, everybody watching, everybody in the world, everything you do goes through your heart. Proverbs 4:23. I'm going to tell you something that fellowship is everything in the world to me. It really is. It means a lot. I can go out and spend 2 hours with somebody. Mm-hmm. Have a good time, good fellowship. I can go out and spend 20 minutes talking to the neighbors or somebody somewhere else, and that's good. But your best fellowship is when you do something for somebody and it only lasts a minute or two. I'll give you an example. Guys, when I tell you this, it's not because I'm bragging or I'm cool or nothing. It's got nothing to do with that. It's just what happened. Believe me, I'm as humble as it comes. Me and Ms. Autry were at Food Line about, I don't know, 3 months ago, Ms. Autry, 4 months ago. I was buying my groceries with me and Ms. Autry. It came up to $60, $80, I don't know. Lady was right behind me, by herself, an older lady, probably 65, which is younger than me. I call her older. But she was probably 65, 68 years old, little small lady. I looked there, and she was starting to put the stuff up there. She had a couple things of collard greens, some black-eyed peas, some flour, no candy, no sodas, nothing like that. You could tell she was trying to make this, and she had some other kind of beans or something, some corn. She was trying to make a dinner for a lot of people, probably her family, with a little bit of money.
Right.
So I sat there, and I just told the lady at the register, I took that little divider up, I just run this with my groceries. When I did, the lady said, "Oh, those are mine." So I said, "Ma'am, I'm going to pay for them today. I just want to do this." It was, what, $22 maybe. When I told her that, she looked at me, she stared at me, she turned her back to me.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, first thing I thought, I was like, man, I hope I didn't hurt her feelings. But she just turned her back. So I looked at Miss Autry. I didn't know what to do. So she was sitting there. This went on for about a minute, right? About a minute and a half. She turned back around. Tears were just flooding down her face. I'm like, golly. So I walked over to her, every bit of 4 steps. I didn't know what to do, so I just hugged her.
Wow.
She hugged on to me for probably a minute and a half. She was just crying. And I'm like, golly. So I paid for groceries, and I hugged her again. I went out the door. They were bagging her groceries up. And I'm going to tell you right now, that 2 minute right there was the best fellowship I've had in a long time. That fed my spirit.
Right.
Maybe it did hers too, but it fed mine. So it's not about something big and elaborate that you do, or I spend 20 hours with somebody. It's the little things.
Wow.
We always talk about it's the small things in life. I never will forget that. If I live to be 110, I'll remember that.
Yes.
True story.
Wow, great
And
story.
that happened 6-8 weeks ago.
That's exactly how it goes too. You're very right. Something that you just don't think about until you say it like that. That those short interactions really do make a humongous difference. You're very right.
Because usually unexpected.
Exactly.
You can plan, like you and I can go out. We have a good time, no doubt.
Sure.
We can plan and go out and spend 2 hours doing martial arts, 3 hours doing throws,
Right.
takedowns, whatever. But it's when you encounter somebody
Right.
and you have something like that, and it changes your life. It changes theirs, hopefully.
Yeah, you're very, very right. Wow, what a great story. I love that.
Yeah, thank you.
That's one thing that it's just something that you get to do in life, and if you take the opportunity to do it, and it's like you said, it's not an ego thing. It's not a proud thing. It's not a look how shiny my car is type of thing. It's just you have the opportunity. Most people have the opportunity every day to do something for somebody.
Right.
Whether it's holding the door, or just being a nice person. You always taught us the number one most important thing in martial arts: being a good person. It's not punching, kicking, strength, or whatever. It's being a good person, having that good heart.
And I truly think that's why the school grew like it did.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, very few schools I know, and there again, it's just the way it was. But we had a waiting list to get in. You know that we couldn't get them on the floor.
Absolutely.
We had so many students for a while. We had a waiting list to get in.
It's because you're feeding their spirit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I hope so. That's what I was trying to do anyway.
Yes, sir. That good fellowship. It fed mine.
Yeah.
I tell you, I was depraved of nutrition. Came in and got some meals twice a week. So,
But a lot of people came in. Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry. A lot of guys came in 40, 50, 60 years old, and they were different when they came on the floor. They were just different, whether they were really talented or not. It didn't matter. We treated everybody the same. And they have got as much out of it as the black belts or second, third degree black belts. They got just as much out of it.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what you want to do. I mean, why would you go someplace that's not fun?
that doesn't make sense. Right.
Well, everybody has an ego.
Right. Exactly. Right.
So,
Yeah, no joke. Yeah, the fellowship is something that's a really, really good thing. You quoted a Bible verse earlier. I think we all learned this firsthand in 2020, that it is not good for man to be alone. And it's really not. And separation. And there's times to be by yourself and have isolation, and there's times where my wife and I, we just want to sit at home and just be with each other and enjoy each other's company. But I'm what people would call an extroverted person, right? You know, I get a thrill out of being around noise and conversation and hustle and bustle. That type of stuff puts energy back in my battery. I enjoy being around people. And if I'm too far away from people for too long, bad days are going to start coming. If I get too stuck into my head, it's not a safe place to be too often.
No,
you know what I mean?
you.
Sometimes you have to get that stuff out. And I think you're spot on with that.
That'll change when you get 65.
Really?
I mean, no, I enjoyed having all the schools and teaching every night and having people in your face so much. I mean, you had never had a second to yourself.
Right.
You walk in the dojo and it was they were standing in line to talk to you, ask you something, and remember, as all you said, that we had thousands of students, and you're like, wow, it's great. But you know, now it's kind of nice to be here in the neighborhood. And,
yes.
You know, I can choose if I want to go somewhere.
Right.
But you know, people have parties and stuff. I'm like, I just will stay home.
Yes, sir.
I've gone through all that for 50 years.
Right. After 50 years of it, you deserve a weekend or two.
I don't mind doing private lesson seminars. I'm fine with
Right.
that.
Yes, sir.
But I have no desire to have 40, 50, 80 people at night.
Yes, sir. Exactly. That's so funny that you say that, because when you sign up for that, I think that's something that a lot of us kind of forget sometimes. You know, my day job, all I have to do is just fix things.
Right.
I go in, things are broken, I fix them, I leave.
Now, do you talk to the people or people that are watching you do this, or?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Like today I went to a beautiful house. The guy's basement was bigger than my home I live in. That's what I worked in, was his basement. I walked down and said, "This is your basement?" He said, "This is humongous." It was a wonderful home, and they were just kind.
This little old thing?
Yeah, right. He said, "It's just pardon the mess." Yeah. but yeah, it was very, very kind people. Very cool. And you know, you do get to see some good things from that, because you are providing a service for people. And you know, sometimes people will give tips, or they'll give you some water or something, and have some good conversation with people. But you're in kind of a service business where we're making this trade for, you know, I fix the thing that is broken, you give me cash for it, you know. But in the realm of martial arts, people don't often think about what they're really getting into when they get them coming to a martial arts school.
Most of the time they don't.
No, sir. You know, they go in there and they think, you know, karate, jiu-jitsu, judo, whatever. But when we went into your school, and you taught me this, to be an instructor, we do so much more than just teach martial arts. And in fact, you've told me a cajillion times, your job as an instructor is to help people. It's to make them feel good. It's to do things for people. And so this is beyond a service industry. It's something that you sign up to do when or through your missionary work or whatever you're getting into the field of people now. This isn't necessarily just a service.
And all people are different.
All people are different, and it doesn't stop. The world keeps spinning, and problems just keep coming. And when people come to you with those problems, it can be very taxing.
Yeah.
Very taxing. And I'm sure you have way more stories than I do on the matter, but that stuff weighs on your heart at night. You know, you have
It does. I mean, you know, I mean, we really very seldom had any problems.
Yes,
very
sir.
seldom. There's a few times we had problems, but I've seen the young kids that we've had grow up to be ministers and you know, missionary workers. I've seen them grow up to be doctors and lawyers and everything. You know, sometimes they'll call me now or text me. You know, they find my number on the internet. They'll text me, "Hey, Master Arch, how you doing?" Which makes you feel good.
Right.
But the thing is, when I was 16 years old, I walked in my first dojo, and that's what I wanted to do. It was dirty and stinky and smelly. Shotokan karate. It was horrible. I mean, it was the nastiest school you've ever been to. And I'm kind of a neat guy, but I just loved it. I was like, this is what I want to do. So I went home and told my dad, "I'm going to do this." He's like, "Oh, okay." You know, a year later, I said, "I'm going to do this." He said, "Okay." Then he started seeing me getting serious about 18, 19 years old. He says, "You don't want to do that. That's a poor man's sport." But he was wrong about that one.
Right.
Not money-wise, but, I mean, just the enrichment people had.
Yes, sir.
You know, that I just, all the memories and stuff and the people that I got to teach.
Yes, sir.
You know, that was a blessing right there.
Oh, it sure is. Yeah, it's a great world. It's a really, really cool world. And like you say, you see all sorts of walks of life.
Yeah.
You know, I've had students, even potential students, some people that don't even show up to the school, they'll call you up, and you know, some people they want to fight, some people just want confidence, some people, "Oh, my kid has got no discipline, I need to put him in something and give him some discipline." And everybody comes in with all these different things, and when you are having a class, you're sitting there thinking about that while you're working with them. I know that kid got bullied at school yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I know that kid is a bully at school.
He's one of the motivations.
And everything in between, you know. We try to keep it on a happy, positive note here on the show, but the things that students will come in and tell you sometimes, or parents will come and tell you, you can sit there at night and lay in your bed and just like, you know, who am I? I'm just a guy with I'm just sitting here punching and kicking stuff. You know what I mean? And you remember that that's not what you're really here to do, you know?
Actually, you're more of a psychologist, a preacher, a marriage counselor, a first grade teacher, second grade teacher, ninth grade teacher. It's just all walks of life.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's just all walks of life. The hardest thing for me is when parents will bring kids in, they'll say, "We doesn't listen at home, so I want you to discipline." How am I going to teach that kid 1 hour a week and you don't teach him at home?
Right.
That's not my job. My
Right.
job is to teach him martial arts.
Right.
They think just because they bring him to martial arts school, all the trouble's going to go
Right.
away. 99.9% of the time, it's the parents because they won't teach them.
Absolutely.
They'll tell him something, they let him do it. I mean, this might be getting a little strict, but that's the way it is.
It is.
I mean, I just old school.
Yes, sir.
You know, my dad told me to do something. My mom, I did it.
Right.
You know, I didn't talk back to him. I didn't roll my eyes. I didn't put my hands on my hips.
Right.
You know, it's just a respect thing. But there's no way to teach somebody 1 hour a week respect when they don't reinforce it at home.
Yes, sir.
It's impossible.
I cannot build a house when there is no good foundation.
No.
You're asking me to help you build something when the foundation isn't there.
Crumbling.
It's
It's
crumbling.
not even even.
Exactly.
And they know it's not even.
Right. And they want you to fix that.
Yeah, it's not even, but it's really in an angle. Can you make it straight? Well, tear it down, start again.
Right.
That's
It's
what you gotta do.
impossible. It's impossible to do. Where I wanted to go with this was the reason why I brought up so much martial arts in a go here. So we talked a little bit about what helps us on bad days. And I think it's a little easier to do, when you're having a bad day to help yourself. But what do you do when someone else is having a bad day? That's kind of a tricky thing in my experience, because I've tried to help people and made it worse before, and I'm sure many
Yeah.
other people have felt the same way.
Yeah. You talking about somebody younger, somebody older, or just
Well,
give me for
you can
instance.
pick on that. What do you think?
Let's talk about kids will have a bad day in 8 minutes or 2 minutes is gone.
Oh, right.
You know, so let's not talk about kids. Their emotions all over the place. They are. That's just a kid. I mean, it's going to be that way. The adults.
Mm-hmm.
If most of the time I've had adults tell me they're having a bad day, they'll say it's at work and stuff, but 90% of the time it's them and the wife had problems at home before they came there. Most of the time. Because I've had the wife to come in and say, "Boy, I'm having a bad day." I said, "Well, your husband's just sitting there." And you guys live together.
Right.
But that's a lot of times that's what it is. If they have a little conflict or something,
Yes, sir.
or if they're having a bad day at work, it still might stem from he wants to buy a boat and she don't want a boat, or he wants to buy golf clubs, or he wants to do something she don't want him to, or she wants a new car and he can't afford it.
Right.
It's always something like that most of the time.
Yes, sir.
It's usually an item. That's what I find. And they want something. You know, American people, I mean, we as humans, I want this, I want that. It's just kind of get caught up in it. And what happens is we start buying so many things, you're not satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
You're never satisfied. You want more and more. Then you look back, it's like, man, I'm not happy with anything.
Right.
How come I'm not happy? It's because you can't enjoy it, you know. It's like I told you, I first started driving, I had some, bad cars. They wouldn't even run. I still wash them and wax them.
Right. Yes, sir.
It wouldn't run. They were broken in the yard. Dad said, "Is your car running?" I said, "No, sir." "Well, why do you wax them?" "It looks good, Dad." I just wanted to look things. I want things clean and neat,
Right.
you know. But that's what happens. But yeah, bad days, it happens to all of us.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's there again. It's just the spirit needs to be fed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I always go back to, and that's what I believe more than anything.
Yes,
that
sir.
spirit does need to be fed. And the great thing about it is, me or you or anybody, you know, with just regular sense, most time it don't last long. But some people dwell on it. That's when you have a problem.
That's a problem.
It is.
Yeah.
I've had students come in there and they just dwell on stuff and dwell on stuff. I've actually, true story, I actually told one student one time, I said, "You know what I think you need to do? I think you need just to quit martial arts." He was playing tennis. You quit playing tennis and he played golf, and quit playing golf. Spend more time at home and figure out what you want and then pick one.
Sure.
It's just like a little kid. They play tennis, they go to martial arts, they go to dancing, they go here, here, and here, and here, and here. They're not settled. They can't enjoy anything.
Right.
It's like drinking out of a fire hydrant. We talk about all that water coming in. it's just too much.
Right.
It's just too much. That's
Very, very right.
one man's opinion.
Right. Yes. Yeah. But it certainly can be that way sometimes. It's there are times in your life where sometimes you have to juggle. Sometimes there are a lot of things there. But when you're talking about dealing with bad days or trying to find a little bit of happiness in life, sometimes you're right. It's not what you add to, it's what you take away.
Yeah. Technique's the same way.
Yes, sir.
People get on the floor, they have a hard time doing a judo throw or a choke or a lock or something. They're trying to get too fancy, too hard. Just back off.
Yes, sir.
Less is more in anything. I don't care what it is. Less is more.
You're right. You're right. Less is more. And I've experienced the same thing when you're trying to do good for other people as well. I don't know, maybe you did this when you were younger. I've never seen you do it. But somebody's having a bad time. I can't remember who this person was. I wouldn't say their name, but I just remember being in the school. Somebody was having a bad time. And I did too much to try to help. I don't know if that makes sense or not. And it's almost like an overkill.
Forced it.
Yes. And that goes back to the interactions you were talking about, or those 1 or 2 minute interactions.
Right.
Those aren't forced. Those are natural.
Right.
They flow almost like as if they were meant to be.
Was it a kid or adult?
I think it was a kid. Yeah. I think I was, I don't know. I think they were upset, and all I was trying to do was just get them to lift up a little bit,
Yeah.
And it turned around after a while, It's like you said, every 8 minutes they switch, it's just like that. But less is more a lot of times, and there's sometimes where I've noticed in life that sometimes I just can't help, and that's kind of the worst thing. You see somebody who's going through something, and you give it your best shot. You're not going to force it. You're not going to go too hard. I'm not going to beat it to death. But I gave it my best shot, and you can see sometimes it's almost like it's not my job. I tried to do it, and it just wasn't the guy for the job. You ever experienced that before?
I had a lady come in to answer your question. I had a lady come in. It's kind of the same, but kind of different. She said she had a little boy. He was, in fact, the kid. I think he was 10. No, but he's about 8 years old. Mm-hmm. 8 years old. She said, something happened at school today and he won't tell me. I said, really? She said, yeah. I've asked him 20 times, see if you can get him to tell you. I said, okay. So I got him on the floor. We did jumping jacks and ran, and we did kicks and punches. He was exhausted. He was sweating. Oh, this was in 10 minutes. I said, he said, I'm tired. Now keep going. I just made him keep going. So after about 15 minutes, I was getting tired too. So after about 15 minutes, I said, let's go and sit down. So we went on and sat down, we got a little water, and he was just so exhausted. He was so tired and wore out. And I said, are you okay? He said, I said, what happened at school today? He said, the teacher just yelled at me and made me feel bad in front of everybody, he told me.
Wow. So
I went, after we worked out for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, I think. So I went to his mom. I said, I found out what happened. She said, what? So I told her. She says, she starts yelling at him. Why didn't you tell me? I'm like, golly. Starts yelling at the kid. You tell him, not tell me. But here's the thing.
Man.
Kids, when they get tired, they lay down at night. They end to go to bed. This happened to a little girl. Most of the time they get exhausted right before they fall asleep. Hey, Mom, this happened, or Dad, this happened. They'll tell you because they're tired. When the kids are tired and lay down at night, that's what comes to their mind.
Wow.
I found out teaching thousands of kids. So what happens was I got him really tired, wore him out. I was tired too. And that's when he told me. But she just got upset with him. She asked me to find out. I found out. She was like, I can't believe he told you. I was like, well, wasn't that the point?
Right. Jeez.
I thought I would be, that's really good. Right. I didn't get that.
Jeez. It's kind of rough too, because it's one of those things where you kind of just, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm thinking too hard about it, but he entrusted you with information that he didn't with somebody else. And then, then he gets scolded for it. It's like, well, I don't know if I can tell you something again.
Yeah.
That's never fun.
Yeah. The biggest thing was I just got him tired.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he got tired, and they'll tell you.
Right.
Kids will do that. Right before they fall asleep, they're going to tell you, your wife will tell you what happened at school. Parents will just nag them all the time. What happened? They're not going to tell you. They're going to clam up.
Right.
You got to get them relaxed. When they're relaxed, they'll talk.
Wow.
It's like anything else.
Yes,
I guess like detectives.
Right. Build rapport and get them to relax.
I'm your buddy. You're in jail. I'm a buddy. What happened?
Yeah. That is hilarious. Wow. We'll take a second just to say hey to everybody in here. Connor Rain is in here. One of my buddies, Owl in the Brush, is in here.
Hey, Miss Connor.
He says, wow, Sensei in the house. That's awesome. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for coming through and hanging out with us tonight. Very, very nice to have you here.
Go ahead.
No, you're fine.
I was going to say, how do you pick your topics? And you just...
Usually, honestly, this is going to be very telling. It's whatever I'm going through at the time.
So we know you got problems. You start getting the same thing over and over.
Exactly right. Yeah, it's whatever I'm going through. When I'll tell you exactly. Well, the reason being is because you've helped me, and the martial arts has helped me so much in life. Now I get like a 30-minute therapy session where I get to bring it into you and get your opinions on things.
Well, we do this all the time anyway.
Yes,
People don't know that.
Right. Just get to do it in front of other people. And the thing is that when you enjoy something, you want to share it with somebody.
It's fun.
And I enjoy the time that I get to spend with you and Mrs. Autry. I enjoy what I get to talk to you guys and what I get to learn and glean from. And if it's helped me, it's got to be helping somebody else out there. Someone's got to enjoy the conversations. And maybe they had a bad day and they get to turn on the podcast and they get to hear something good, you know.
Something they can relate to.
Exactly right.
Yeah. They don't have to be martial arts, just relate to life.
Sure, exactly right.
Well, next week, I'm not going to tell you what the topic is yet.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell these guys. I'm going to tell you a story that my dad told me. And of all the stories he's ever told me, this was the one that blew my mind the most.
Okay.
It's just phenomenal. I mean, the way he told it to me and the way he taught it to me and stuff, it's really, really different. Wow. So I'm excited to share this next week.
I'm really, really excited about it. I can't wait to hear that.
I've never told anybody this.
Really?
Never.
Oh, wow.
Never told anybody this. I don't think Ms. Autry even knew it.
Really?
Until I told her a couple weeks ago what I was going to tell.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I can't wait
cool.
to hear
it's
that.
Fun. I like to hear stories that I've never heard before.
Yeah, me too. Right. Those are always great. It's something you can learn from. The stories are just awesome.
Yeah.
The stories are such a great way to learn things. You know, and they convey emotions and experience and all that. Being able to tell stories on here is great because we have people come in the chat sometimes and talk to us a little bit, tell some of their stories, what's going on in their life. And I think it all goes back to that fellowship. You know, to make the episode full circle, it goes back to that fellowship where really we have bad days, we have good days, but one thing is for certain that when you get together with people that care, you know, everything gets a little bit better. And that's something that we really get to do here every single Tuesday night.
And the thing is, too, I mean, I've got a lot of friends and stuff, but I don't get to spend a lot of time with them. I really don't. I mean, you know, even though I'm retired and stuff, I'll do this and do a bit of teaching and stuff. But I don't spend a lot of time with them because they're doing something, I'm doing something, or me and Ms. Autry are doing something. But when I get to see them and spend 15, 20 minutes with them, it's fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's that little fellowship, just like you say.
Right.
Now, you know, I mean, I know people that live in other neighborhoods. Every Thursday night, they have 25 people at their house. Every Saturday morning, they have 10 people for breakfast. I don't want to do that.
Yes, sir.
That's too much.
Yeah, I don't think I can do that either.
Yeah, it's just a little bit much for me.
Right.
You know, but getting together and sitting at a coffee shop or, you know, they smoke cigars, they go out and smoke a cigar, that's different. You know?
Right, exactly. Yeah, those are great because they're controlled environments. When the coffee's done, you can leave. When the cigar's burnt, you can leave. You know, and there's always
That's your house, or somebody will stay there 6 hours.
Exactly.
Hey man, you stay any longer, you're gonna have to pay rent.
Right, exactly. There's always something there that you kind of sets the limits and the boundaries for what you're doing when you get together.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I'll end off on a quick story because I think that was kind of cool what you said. You had given myself and 2 other students a job once when we were back in Monroe, the school you had in not the, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Monroe School.
Yes, sir.
Only was there for a year.
Yes, right. Yeah, I don't want to give away locations and stuff, you know. So our job was to tell a story. You were like, you got 3 or 4 of us together. You said, I want you to get in front of the junior class next week. You're going to do this week. You're going to do that week. And your job is to tell martial arts.
I do not remember that.
You don't remember that?
I don't
really?
remember that at all.
Okay. Because I spent the next week and a half, because there's 4 people doing it, so I got to tell the best one. And so I'm all over the internet looking for every martial arts story I can find. I didn't tell this story but it has always stuck with me, and I don't know why. And maybe you've heard it. Maybe this was really neat. It came from like Karate Stories, that kind of area. And it's a guy, he's running the class and he's teaching everybody. He brings out this big old jar, and he takes a couple of rocks, decent sized rocks, and he puts them in there. He says, these are the core things in your life. This could be your marriage, your family, maybe your job, your religion, whatever it is that matters to you. He takes some smaller rocks, he fills it in. These are the other things, things that you have to do, you have to take care of, but it doesn't really mean as much to you as these core fundamentals. Then he fills it up with sand, all the way up to the brim, fills it up with sand. He goes, and this is all the other things in your life, these minuscule stuff. It really weighs you down. It's kind of annoying. It just takes up all the rest of your time. And you're looking at it, you're like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And he takes a cup of coffee and he pours it in there, and it just kind of makes its way through the sand and through the rocks. And it gets all the way through the sand and makes its way to the bottom. He says, no matter how full your life is, there's always time for a cup of coffee with a friend. And I just thought that was a really cool story.
I don't remember that story.
You never heard that? Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
You told that story?
I didn't tell that, no, sir. But that one always stuck with me for some reason. Every time I think of that, it's like, he's right. There's always finding a time just to fellowship with somebody that you care about.
Yeah.
And it really does feed your soul, like you said.
It does. I mean, it does. I'm a firm believer.
Yes,
believer.
Yes, sir. Wow. Well, it's been so much fun, guys. I can't wait till next week, get to feed my spirit a little bit more on another show. It'll be your turn to do a topic. I'm looking forward to hearing that story you're going to tell. Guys, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your evening. I hope if you had a bad day, we made it better.
Hope so, guys.
All right. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Have a good night, guys.
Have a great night.